Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Module 4. Last week, we had what I thought was a pretty interesting discussion about the American family. I had asked you to think about whether the changes that have taken place represent a step forward or a step backward. Most of you overwhelmingly thought that the changes represented a step forward, and you did a good job in documenting your thoughts on the evidence to support that opinion. And there certainly have been changes. Women no longer just stay home and raise the family. They are also in the workplace. We have protections for women who are subjected to abusive environments. There was some controversy over divorce in the discussion. There certainly are negative aspects, but it has also proved to be liberating for women who in the past might have been trapped in relationships that were either abusive or they were just unhappy in them. And now the relaxation of some of the restrictions on divorce have made it easy for them to escape those kinds of relationships. And of course, that goes hand in hand with the economic progress they've made. They no longer have to rely on males for economic support. They're more than capable of having careers and looking after themselves economically. So, for many women, that reason to stay in an unhappy relationship no longer exists. So, as I think I mentioned in the discussion, divorce rates have come down, but even within those numbers, there are some divorces that actually are productive, even for children. Many children, unfortunately, are raised in homes where there's a lot of conflict, and for those children, divorce is actually a step forward rather than a step backward to escape those kinds of contentious environments. I also provide you with some feedback on your outlines on your paper. I do hope you read those comments. They're intended to help you on the final paper. I also want to encourage you to continue to work on your papers. Don't leave it until the last week. It's pretty hard to do a great job on something if you leave it to the end. And I know many of you work and have family responsibilities. It's not easy being an adult student. It really isn't, and I know that. But if you can find time as we go along the next few weeks to be working on your paper, it will pay dividends in the end, and you won't find yourself burning the midnight oil to meet the deadline to get the paper in. This week, we turn our attention to a couple of other topics that I think are of interest, work and unemployment. And we will also be looking at education. I'm sure you've all heard the concept of American exceptionalism. The idea is that Americans are exceptional as compared to other countries. And in the past, we've been able to talk about our economic viability and standard of living and educational accomplishments. Well, it's not always that clear cut anymore. As you'll see as we move through the course material this week, both the video and the written material, Americans are no longer at the top in terms of educational accomplishments. Studies comparing educational achievement across countries find the United States is not even in the top 5, and by some measures, not even in the top 10, which is really unfortunate for a country as wealthy as the United States. We can do a lot better. So anyway, we'll have a chance to think about that as we go through the material for the course. I also provided some video material on education as well to help us. One of the things that sociologists have done in recent years is to try and do surveys comparing countries in terms of their level of happiness. And once again, the United States does not appear at the top. Countries such as Norway tend to have lower levels of inequality, economic inequality, and higher levels of happiness. There are many other differences between the United States and Norway. We are a far more ethnically and racially diverse country. It's a matter of controversy as to how much that helps to explain the differences in terms of levels of happiness, but it's something certainly worth thinking about. In the discussion we're going to have this coming week, we're going to look in more detail at American education and why we are not doing better and what we can do to remedy that situation. We certainly should be able to educate our children better because in a highly competitive, globalized world, if you're not educated, you're not going to be successful. And I'm not just talking about that from the individual point of view, but from the point of view of the country as well. The days of getting a factory job that pays great wages to enable a middle-class lifestyle for 40 years at the same job, those days are pretty much gone. The kinds of pension benefits that were available for those jobs, with the decline of unions, those are gone also. So we all need to be educated so that we're prepared for the kinds of changes that will be coming down the line. And that means educated. It doesn't necessarily mean college. It could mean having a great trade. For instance, and this doesn't pertain to why you all are in college, but suppose you're an air conditioning technician. Well, they can't outsource that. Somebody does have to come to your house and work on your air conditioning. Someone has to come to your house and work on your plumbing. So those are jobs that are to some extent insulated from globalization. But nonetheless, having a college education gives you opportunities you would not otherwise have. So I know you're putting a lot of effort into it, and it's not necessarily easy with all the other things you have going on in your lives, but I encourage you to stick with it because it will pay off. Some of you already know that. So I hope you find the material we covered interesting this week. And once again, please try and stick with working on your papers a little bit as you go through each of the next few weeks so you don't have a pile at the end to deal with. And if you have any questions about the paper, it's worth a lot of points. So if you have questions, please don't hesitate to send them to me. Don't wait till the end, the last few days, because I might not be able to get back to you with answers quick enough so that you can get what you need to get done by way of revision. So try not to wait till the end. I will be checking my messages every day right up until the day the paper is due. But if there's something you need to do that's significant that I only can point out to you on Friday because I don't get the message on Friday, that only leaves you 2 days to make the adjustment. So please take advantage of my willingness to help you. Make sure you've made enough progress so at least you know what questions you need answered. I'll be happy to help. Okay, have a great week, and I look forward, as always, to interacting with you on the discussion board.